right? He was the biggest moaner in the sport if they weren't perfect. Yeah, he's being a hypocrite, right? And that's why there's no respect for the BDPA, because you've got someone like Peter basically going, nothing. Like, literally, that was the most car crashy interview I've ever seen in my life. That was BDO-esque. How stupid. It was stupid. It was stupid. What is he doing? He's meant to be there for them, not him. He's meant to make everything right for them. That's what he gets paid for. And that's been paid for years and years and years. And his attitude, all my life, right after that interview, I did a Euro tour. Players are fuming, mate. Players are fuming. Like, literally disgusted. And it will be his undoing. And it could be the PDPA's undoing. Like, because how can you do an interview like that and have any faith thing where 2% of your wages are going every year? And for the guys that's earning £1 million a year, that's 20 bags, mate.
Yeah.
What, to have a bloke like that? Would you want, if you were in a union, would you want a representative like that? So basically, we'll just get on with it. Stop fucking mowing, get on with it. What do you mean, get on with it? Honestly, it was awful. Awful. And I felt sorry for the players, and I felt sorry for Peter, because I thought that was really short-sighted and has undone all the good work that he's trying to do over the years. But if you were a player...
180! Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. The first episode of Double Trouble with South Phil Bars and Chris Mason. And we're going to run you through everything that's happened and coming up in the darting world. Opinions along the way. I hope you enjoy this. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button to get us underway. But episode 1 of Double Trouble. Mace, first of all, a lot going on in the world of darts right now.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? And lots to look forward to. Lots have happened. And yeah, we're going to have a good look at... well, we're going to have a little bit of a throwback to what we think's happened.
Yeah, let's start with the Premier League, the biggest event of the year
so far.
17 weeks. Luke Humphries has completed the Triple Crown. I know you're not keen on it, but the players talk about it and reference it quite a lot now as well. And it was a special tournament across the 16 playing weeks. There was a lot of enjoyment.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Listen, we've spoke about the format. Could it be tweaked? Could it be improved? I think so. I think so. But overall, we've seen some incredible darts, some drama. Michael, for only the second time not qualifying for the playoffs, which for me was a big thing, because it just sort of shows you where his game's at and what's going on with him. But yeah, and again, it was almost a foregone conclusion that Luke Littler was going to win the final, and it didn't play out that way.
Well, that shows up this format, that across the 16 weeks, Luke Littler was the best player. But that shows that the nightly wins, the performances,
the 180 records.
But on one night, everything changes and everything is different on that one night of the O2.
Yeah, and on that one night, in fairness, Humphries was tested and produced, and at the back end of that match, just found another gear. And he did exactly the same in the final against Luke Littler. He just found another gear, and that's where his game is now. I don't subscribe to his whole idea. Well, it's a bit like the World Cup that we've just watched. It was who was the Luke's going to beat in the final. Both me and you said, that ain't the way this is going to play out. Not because they're not good enough or they're not the two best players, because they are, but you've got to gel. There has to be something there, or there has to be experience, where neither of them, with each other, have the experience of playing pairs. And pairs is a different dynamic. And I thought Wales were going to win it, because they're proven winners. They understand the dynamic of playing pairs together. But, ultimately, they lost to a very, very good Northern Ireland side. But because of their experience, I thought that was my call. But they didn't win it. But
yeah, we'll come back to the World Cup in a minute. But that night in the Premier League, Dave Van Aspinall, what a performance! Because
what a Premier League campaign!
It was. I wasn't sure that at this stage of his career, that performance was there. Yeah. And I'm not saying he's a back because he's an incredible player. But at the moment, his average was around 99.
Yeah.
Did you only that
Yeah.
that was kind of the top level that we'd seen from Nathan during this Premier League, and then to produce that in one of the most high pressure games he's played in, which is testament to look, he's got sad balls on him.
Yeah, I'm in the camp that I don't think we've seen the best of Aspinall yet.
I'm with you.
I don't think we've seen him at his very best. I think that particular semi-final, even though he lost it, was an example of what he has in the locker. When everything's right and he preps right and everything falls into place, he was a couple of darts away from being the final and potentially winning.
It took some queen darts
yeah.
from
And the timing,
yeah.
The timing of what Luke did. But great players do great things at great times.
Yeah.
And we've seen it from both Luke's in the semi-finals. They were pushed to the absolute limit, and at the back end of the matches, they both found something special, and that's what special players do. They produce special things at special times.
Well, the Price game. If Price pings that to go 7-3, does he? Does Littler come back from 7-3?
No, and it's very much like the Luke's playing in the final a couple of years ago. If that 2-2 goes in, Littler's champion.
5-2 up and away he goes.
And the pressure's off. He can play with freedom. Those little intricate moments. If you've not played in that environment, like I played massive semi-finals, and you are only sometimes just one dart away from changing the way that plays out. And when it doesn't go, mentally you think, that was my chance. That was my chance. And you didn't take it. And it haunts you for the rest of the match. You more often than not, you're going to lose it.
The final was like a carbon copy, but in reverse of last year, where coming back after the break, it was that spell from Littler.
But they both have that, haven't they? In a lot of matches they played, the early parts, they're both edgy. It shows too much respect, maybe, or they're aware of.
Well, the Players' Championship final, mine would be a prime example. They come back after the break, and Luke Humphries put,
and then they went down.
Yeah, then you just took the game away. They're the gears that they have.
Yeah, but it just shows you that they're not the Phil Taylors of this world, because you wouldn't get away without the Phil. Like, he would be like
hang on leg.
Yeah, 4-1, 5-0. And then you're in a world of trouble. He's halfway there pretty much. You're in a world of trouble. But just lately, there's been a lot of comparisons. You read a lot of stuff about how, is this modern. Overall, the depth is better, but ultimately, Taylor's still the GOAT, mate. And you see that when you watch matches like that, and you think, what would Phil have done in this situation? Phil used to give you the throw and go, right, come on then, son, show me what you got. And then he'd leg on leg, he'd just pressure you and suffocate you and strangle you. When these guys, they're babies. They don't have that. They don't have that, whether it's being ruthless or they just don't have, they don't have what he had. I don't think anybody, the closest we've seen to it is Michael. But even then, I don't think he did it in a way that was just. It's a bit like comparing Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson.
It was with Michael. It was swashbuckling.
Yeah.
It was eye-catching.
Yeah.
Where Phil was just like you say. It was just the same.
Well, we watched Phil and we'd have a chat after. I said, didn't know he played very well. What was his average? And you go 104. You go, what? How is that a 104? So it looked like a 90 up. And that's the difference between the two. You can compare them in terms of accolades and results, but ultimately he was just brutal, and that's the difference you see with a modern player. Although they're maybe pretty on the eye,
yeah,
because they hit lots of 180s and maybe they miss a bit as well, which is great.
It creates drama and stuff.
Exactly, yeah. Like, give me two players averaging 95 and it goes 9-all in a race to 10, rather than like watching Michael at his prime pump someone 10-2 with 110. You know what I mean? Like, we like a game.
Luke Humphries winning the Premier League. Even this early in his career, where does that rank him already? Because he's done. I get the longevity part of his argument isn't there. I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
However, when you stack up the trophies in that side of it.
in a 2-year cycle.
Where does this put him already early on in his career?
Yeah, that's a great show. We're always scared of recency bias.
Yeah.
But and it's funny. It's as an out and out player, he's one of the best I've ever seen, and that's like Peter Wright, but that's like James Wade. You know, it's like Gary Anderson, like Adrian Lewis. But it's that window. Where do you? Because the window is so small.
Yeah.
Where do you put them? But in terms of out and out players, we often judge people on longevity, and rightly so.
Yeah.
It's like Eric Bristow's career only lasted 6 years. He was at his prime for 6 years, and that was it. Like, in his absolute pomp. And in that 6 years, he won 5 world titles and 5 world masters and World Cups and everything else that was on offer. And I think that's why he's held in such high regard, because people that know the game know that, listen, he made 5 finals, as well as winning 5 times. With Dyers. You know, look what he did in 1997 against Taylor in the semi-final of the Worlds. That was Adelaide, yeah. Like, remarkable. Like that was 11 years past his best.
About 1-4-1, I don't think.
Mate,
Roof was coming off the top.
yeah, it was just like the most emotional I've ever been about a game of darts that I wasn't involved in, because, you know, he was my hero, my idol, and I loved him. One of my best mates, and to watch him do that after so long, and when you knew him, the frustrations that he went through, because he still felt like he could do it.
Yeah.
And just for that week, he did do it.
Yeah, no.
And it was fabulous. But yeah, listen, both Lukes, you know, even though they're brand new, you've still got to put them right up there. They're up there with the Peter Wrights, the Gary Andersons, the Adrian Lewises. They're up there with them, aren't they? And they've got to be, because they play a style of darts which is exactly the same.
From there, the World Cup, moving in, it was a hard job.
Yep.
Going in, no one else was in the equation apart from England.
It was, who were they going to beat in the final?
Correct. However, like in sport, it doesn't plan out on paper. Look, yes, they are the best 2 players in the world.
That doesn't mean...
Correct. And I look at the 2 that got to the final in Northern Ireland and Wales. Arguably, they were the best 2 teams in terms of total package, camaraderie, on and off the hockey. And that is part of the reason why they were both in the final and served up an absolute treat.
Yeah, and we had a chat off camera like months ago, and we were going, "Oh, what do you think about the World Cup?" I said, "We don't know. We don't." Everybody thought it was a foregone conclusion. Me and you were like, "Well, like, how much pairs have they played?" Like, we know Luke, that's the winning shirt over there with Michael Smith, but for Luke Littler, it was unknown. It was unknown territory, and playing in Germany, which they know he doesn't like, because he gets treated poorly.
Made it quite clear as well.
And you couldn't hear Johnny Mack on the introduction.
I've never had anything to like.
It was horrific, right? So in a way, we weren't shocked. You know, we didn't text each other and go, "Oh, I can't believe they lost," right? And in fairness, Germany were fucking
Pierce doing
unbelievable. Unbelievable. They played lovely, as did the 2 finalists. But Gezi and Johnny, they're pals, they're proven winners, they understand it, they get it. Where the 2 Lukes, especially in Littler, a new environment, and it's different. And of course, being in Germany, all added factors to their demise, I think.
What did you make of Gezi spilling the beans? The only team not to arrive together, not to
that was a different choice.
not to sit together.
I was dreaming last night, and I was like, wow. And there we go. But that's what we discussed. You got, like, I played in the forerunner to this, the World Pairs.
I remember it.
And very much, me and Steve Raw were 2 different characters, but we came together. we found a system that worked. You know, it's like when you read online, they go, oh, he fist bumped him because he hit 60. He's not fist bumping because he's hit 60. It's encouragement. It's belief. It's trust. It's having that. You rely on your partner. So you want to constantly give them that. You want to give them the belief that you have. And you have to have that dynamic in pairs. Pairs is a totally different game. You're so reliant on your partner. And if at any point you feel like you're letting your partner down, and they're not encouraging you, then you're letting them down.
Yeah, I get it.
You feel like you're letting them down, and you can't have that. You can't have that. You've got to be a unit. You've got to be a team. And I think that's why, ultimately, why we seen the final we did between Northern Ireland and Wales. And it was fabulous. I thought Northern Ireland were brilliant. I thought both of them contributed, and they had that bond. And you can't make that up. If it's not there, it's not there.
Team camaraderie, like we're talking about there, can they get there with it, or does that come naturally? Or
I don't think you can manufacture it.
So are we saying that this dream team in brackets will never work?
No, but the dynamics are both very individual players, right? They're both superstars. They're both winners. And it's almost like some that I played with Phil Taylor in pairs. Didn't work. It just, you think, oh, what a dream pairing. Like, for me, you'd think, but I was under pressure to match what he was doing, rather than
worrying about your own game.
Yeah. And then you'd feel like, oh, I'm letting him down. I'm not performing. I'm not backing him up. He's hitting a big score. I'm hitting 45 and 60s, you know, and that's where being a unit is lost. Like, you've got to be together. And because they're both, listen, they're individual winning machines, aren't they? Both of them.
Well, the fact they're battering each other in finals for trophies, they're 1 and 2, could I batter each other in there? Can you put that aside, or is that always going to be that? I say rivalry in the nicest way. It's not a rivalry as in they dislike each other. It's a professional rivalry.
I think if they were in their 40s, yeah,
but not
now.
Not at the age they are now.
No, because they're both really, like, they've both got an aura, haven't they?
100%.
Like, they're the two best players in world darts. And what you can sometimes find is you try and outplay each other, which doesn't.
Yeah, I get it.
It doesn't.
You've hit I want to 140.
Yeah.
You hit 140.
180. And they hit 180. You haven't gone, that's great darts. Like, you watch Gezi and Johnny, or Darryl and Josh, they've got great darts. Like, with them two, you think, all right. You know, and it.
You get a 1-2-1 finish, I'm on a 1-2-2, 1-1-2-4.
Correct. It's like when you play any kind of routine, you know, I'm in you and one of the lads in the pub, and they take out a 1-2-2. I'm not having it. I need to take out one, you know, sort of bigger. And I just don't, it just didn't look like they were in unison with each other. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, as they get older and they're, it's like being cock of the school, isn't it?
Yeah.
They both want to be cock of the school, and one of them has to back down and go, I'm playing with you, I'm not playing against you. I think it could happen. Just and them two are going to be the top of the tree for a long time. So we'll see next year. And I think the element of it being in Germany had a factor as well.
Devil's advocate, and before I ask you this, I'll say now, I know it was never going to happen because sponsors and so on, but I look up there, should Michael Smith have been there to defend the title he won a year ago?
I think that's something that they have to look at.
I understand that. Right, everyone wants Luke. Mm-hmm. I get that, sponsors, broadcast.
That's a great show. I
understand that, but the fact that England team won you last year, should Michael Smith have been there to just try and defend that crown with Luke Humphries?
Absolutely. I think on the rare occasion where rankings don't come into play, it's a non-ranked event. Why shouldn't he be allowed to defend his title?
No, I'm fully with you, and that's why I respect Gary. When Gary stepped aside and went, no,
John
won it. John goes.
Absolutely. I never even thought about it, but yeah, he did do that. He went, no, I'm not playing it.
Yeah, no, Gary chose to. No, I'm not.
I think if you win it, I think you should be allowed to defend it. It's a non-ranking promotional exhibition event, whatever you want to call it. Actually, that's a great show. I never even thought about it, but yeah, great show.
Has Josh Rock just penciled, stroke penned, maybe even permanent marker penned his name into one of those 8 spots because he ticks an awful lot of boxes?
Remember when I watched him in the Premier League a couple of years ago, and I got use.
I remember a few years. This is going back more than a few years ago. The excuse for picking Raymond van Barneveld was, "Well, I'm on the World Cup." Has Josh done enough to get one of the 8 spots?
I'd have had him
because he's box office.
I've had him in this year, and I loved the Premier League this year. I thought it was great, but I would have probably. I think I picked him a couple of years ago when he won the World Youth.
When he did the 9 against Michael,
and he did the 9, and he just had that. He's got that bit about him. He's youthful. He'd have loved it. He'd have embraced it, and I had the same sort of reaction 18 months ago when Luke Littler made the final of the World. Stick him in the Premier League. He's ready to go. If he's ready, he's ready. Like, if you're good enough,
yeah,
you're ready. And the abuse I got over picking Josh Rock. I think he just won the World Youth. Yeah, I think he just won the World Youth, and he was favourite for tournaments.
Yeah, 100%.
He was favourite to win majors, right? So I thought, well, if he's favourite to win majors, then surely, give him a... Because the Premier League can go stale very quickly, especially with the way it is now. And I thought that would have been the ideal time just to throw in a new kid on the block and see how he handles it. I personally, if I managed him, I wouldn't have allowed him to go in because he won't let it. Where now I think he's matured massively in the last 12 months, and he's my next guy to win a major.
He's still the only player that could pull a hamstring on that stage. Right, dizzy watching him.
Yeah, but he's ready. I think he'll be the next first-time winner of an individual major.
Let's talk about Northern Ireland because
brilliant.
They were special, and Darryl's had to wait a long time to get his hands on another major. 2018 was the last time that he won a PEC major. Josh's first, but they just looked so good
team
all weekend. That
no iron team, mate.
No, 100%.
And they just gelled from start to finish. They backed each other up beautifully. There was a friendship. They were a unit together, and if there was bad darts, they supported each other. There was good darts, they supported each other. There was no flapping. There was no... You never...
No ego.
No, that's a great word. No ego. And they're both superstars, right? You got one guy who's tipped up to do win majors, and you've got a guy that was won majors.
Yeah.
But the experience and the talent gelled perfectly, and they played beautifully.
Hong Kong.
Brilliant.
Stole, I think, a lot of people's hearts, and they gave a really good interview that we were like, we want you to come over and play more.
Unbelievable.
And when they spoke about, look, we can't afford to. The travel's too expensive. Is that an issue? If we want the sport to be truly global, look, there are stars in Asia, on that Asian tour, and we've seen Man, especially at the World Championships, at this World Championship.
And the sport is massive over there. How on earth is it not financially viable? And then we hear, I gotta be careful. No, I haven't got to be careful because I don't give a shit. But we hear so much about the money and the opportunities. How have you got two of the best players in Asia can't afford to be professional dart players?
Well, it's the same in North America that a lot can't take the risk because of the financial.
So there's something wrong in it.
Well, we've had this conversation a lot there, where look, I've said it before. The top 16 is overprotected now, and there's too many benefits there
Yeah,
in the top six. I get some protection.
I know there's with you on that. We know that, right? Because how many times has the top 16 changed since the new rules have come into loads? There's loads joshing in for position. They're going in and out, right? I'm all for if you're good enough at that level. This is where people get confused, right? Being a great dart player, but being brand new is not the same as the guys in the top 16 who've got experience, they've got backing, they've got financial security. They're not worried about paying their mortgage if they win or lose a game, right? There's people equally as talented, but can't afford to take that risk.
But that's what I'm getting at, that all the financials are going up, which is great. But for me, they're going up at the right end. Yeah, they're all going up in that area. They're making them richer.
Yeah.
Which is, for them, is great. 100%. But you've got them already earning 200 grand a year. I've got a figure.
Mm-hmm.
But he's earning 200 grand a year. Yeah.
He's earning
20. It's like, hang on a minute. We've got players around the world.
And it costs you 20 to do the tour.
And we've got players around the world that could be stars.
Yeah.
That cannot afford to do it. To make this a global sport, how does this change? Because I want to see more of Manley Car. I want to see more of Zeus, Spellman, Savada, and so on, and Allah.
I think Q School is broken.
We both agree on this.
I think there should be, if you're on that secondary tour, the challenge tour, I think the top 8 of that should get a card. Right? You've dedicated yourself to it over a period and you're proven. You're not just done a good couple of days at Q School and draws have dropped your way and right? And then I think I was talking about it yesterday. So we've got an Asian PDC tour, right? The top 2 from that, they should get like a scholarship. So for 2 years, they get a card, and they get sponsorship for 2 years, so they can afford to go and travel and play, right? And give them the opportunity. Yes, it's like I'm spending PDC money again. I'm good at this, right? But it's not financially viable if you live in America, Asia, all these Australia. It's impossible. It's impossible. But if they had their own Q School, which would generate enough money, rather than keep that money, say you had 200 people paying 100 quid, right, to do a Q School in Australia, just 200. Instead of like keeping that money, give it to them and say, right, there's your money, because the entries are free, right? But there's your travel money. Here's enough money to go over and stay for 3 months and have a go. And I think too many cards go out at Q School in Europe and here we've seen it before, people who don't support the tour, don't play on Challenge Tour, and they just have a good few days, and then sometimes not even use their card as they should. So change it up. I know it generates a lot of money, right? But there's plenty of money in the pot. You know what I mean? Like, the PDC ain't poor, are they? I just signed this new deal. Just change things. Like, you cannot have players, and it ain't no good going, oh, if you're good enough, you're good enough. That's bullshit. Because if you've got a job and a family and a kid and a wife, what are you going to do? Oh, I'll juggle that off, I'm going to go and play. No, that's not. You can't do it. So you've got to find a way of making it possible for the ordinary working person that it's financially viable, because we don't want an elitist sport. Darts ain't about that. It's a working man's sport, and it's played in a pub by normal people. We can't turn it into golf, because that's a disaster.
But it's getting heading that way.
We know it. We've seen it. We've talked about it for years. And it is going in that direction. It's becoming elitist. And the one thing darts shouldn't be is elitist. Like we're in a club now. There's a dart board. Everybody can play on that too. Yeah. Everybody should play.
Yeah, I agree.
And it should be open to everybody.
Going back to what we've seen at this World Cup, the developing nations are getting better, which is great for the sport.
Yes.
How do we take the sport to this global sport that we want, because we're seeing all these developing areas going honestly. How does this all come into one now? I'm not saying this happens in the next 2 years. This can be 10 years. But how do we then put this in pieces together?
How did we end up making sport limited to 228 people? Why?
Because Barry said so.
Why?
No,
When has sport been? Why? What's this whole idea of you've got to be in this sector of people? Like, darts was always open. Like, the news of the world, the oldest tournament in the world. You played in your pub if you won that. You won your region, you won your area, and you progressed. Now, and again, it goes back to that point we were saying, it's too elitist, I think. Like, why only 128? Why not 256? Is there not 256 players in the world that are good enough? Or is there not 256 players in the world that can afford it? Which one is it?
I'd say the second.
Correct.
Personally.
Correct. And that for me is like, why we've gone over this multiple times. Why isn't there Euro tours in Wales and Ireland and Scotland and Northern Ireland? Why not? Why is it dominated by Germany? I know it sells tickets and I know it makes money and that's business, right? But don't tell me if you put a Euro tour in Cardiff that it wouldn't sell out, because it would sell out. Don't tell me if you didn't put a tournament in Ireland, anywhere in Ireland, literally anywhere, right? And again, and what my reference to this is, if the kids are watching it, they'll be going, oh no, it's like, I've just been doing that junior parody for the ADC. The kids are unbelievable. But why is it limited to England? We have got a Mongolian kid playing who's unbelievable, terrible, literally ridiculous. And then we got a Belgian kid, Lex, and
Lex is
like literally, like, they're unbelievable. But how long do we keep going before they go, oh, well, if you don't live in England or Germany or Netherlands, where will the other players come from? Why isn't it a global sport? Why? Because there's not enough globally. And we don't even look after, we don't even, like, well, they say the first gym and the darts, but why is it so forgotten in this country? It's mad. It is mad. Like, especially Wales. Wales is the one, you've got Johnny and Gezi and Jim Williams and Nick Kenny.
Robert Owen.
Historically, Wales, like, I don't get why it's forgotten about. Like, I want to see, we go to the Euro Tours, right? We go to the World Series events. They're unbelievable. I want the people in this country to enjoy it, right? But we don't get a snap, we don't get a look in, right? But then, if you're a European player or a global player, or if you're from North America or America, how do they get in? How do they get a chance? Like, the sport is without doubt, the greatest it's ever been. But it's also becoming too elitist, you know?
We've flown the idea around yesterday, I think it was, that I'd like to see a Euro Tour style event in North America where they go over for 2 weeks to showcase the product.
Yep.
Where you do Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Boston.
Yeah.
They stay there. Then you do Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Philly. I just use that as their club to grow. And I'd like to see that. And I get its expense and so on, but it's eyes on the product. And the fact that the PDPA have got darts on Peacock in America now is huge.
Yeah, that was a big move.
A massive move, and kudos to them, because that was a huge breakthrough moment in North America. But now, can we do something along those high lines?
And you're bang on, mate. If you've got a broadcast partner of that size, surely you've got to go, right, here we go. Come on then, show us what you got. And give them an opportunity. It's no good taking the product there, but not giving them an opportunity to showcase what they've got. And again, like the event, the US Open in New York, it's brilliant. It's 1 a year.
So
Not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough to attract people to go, I'm going to be a pro player. It's like when I first started, right? We had the embassy.
News of the World.
No. War Masters.
Trophy, was that around that? Was that?
No, it was around, yeah, it was after. That was it. That wasn't, you couldn't like jack your job in and go, I'm going to be a professional dart player, because there was no opportunities. Now the opportunities are there, but they're only available. And again, I can hear Barry going, well, if you're good enough. No, what? That's bullshit. It's not if you're good enough. It's like, if you're good enough but can't afford it. It's like I could drive like a car at 200 miles an hour, but I don't have a car that can do 200 miles. That's bullshit, right? No one's going to pay for me to go in a 200 mile an hour car.
Well, I'd had said this for a while, that people say win more games. That's fine. So okay, you've got player A that is inside the top 64 at the moment.
Yep.
Player B has not won enough games. All of a sudden, player B wins enough games, knocks player A out. We're still talking about the same issue. You're just moving the pawn.
You are moving chess pieces. That's all you do.
The issue's still there.
Listen, if I'm playing Gezi Price for 50 grand, right? I'm playing for money. He's not. He's playing a game of darts. I'm playing for money because I don't have that kind of money, right? And that's what it is. That's what it boils down to. Some players play to win. Some players are like they got to justify them being there, right? Their misses as like they've sacrificed. He's like taking a gamble. His mortgage payments might be due, or his rent might be due, or his car payments might be due. He's spending that money at darts, taking 3 days off work. You cannot justify it, right? And especially we know they're in the tournament. That if you've got a tour card, I don't get the mentality. This is one thing I'm totally against. I don't get the mentality that you're in a tournament, you play on a string board, which the PBC are financially gained from via the bookies, by their subscription, and you don't get any money for it. Who on earth plays for nothing? Anything in life. You don't go to work for nothing. You don't do sport a lot, unless you're an amateur, right? But this is the Professional Darts Corporation, right? You should be rewarded for getting that card. You've invested the time, money, you were in the top 128. If you lose in the first round of a tournament, you're not losing in the first round of an Open.
No, you've won the right to be there by winning your card.
Right? And then there's no justification for it. They can spin it all they like. It is bullshit. It's bullshit. They're not in an open tournament. Like, what other tournament do you know that's streamed or on TV or where else where it's elite? Do not get paid for losing first round. Find me what?
There isn't.
There is not.
It's only the prize pool.
Yeah, there is not. There is nothing else, and they're making money out of it.
Yeah.
I know the interest free, right? And I think that's incredible what they do. Listen, this ain't a slagging that I absolutely am amazed what they've done to darts, right? It's remarkable. It's remarkable. But this whole idea, and it comes from Barry's thing about, you've got to win. Well, I get that. But they have won. They won a card. They've done what you've asked.
Yeah, or if
And you're not getting rewarded.
or if you're not going to...
And don't get me wrong, right? How about you get Gezi, Luke, Michael Smith, but like, what if you keep getting in first round? What, you shit then? Because you can't beat them.
Get better.
Yeah. Doesn't it? How can you get better?
Exactly.
No, we've got to learn to get better. And that comes by opportunities.
I look lame.
Yeah. And having some security and not shitting your pants because, oh, fuck me, I've just sold, I've just spent my mortgage money turning up here for 3 days. I have 3 days off work. My missus is going mad. And you've got to be that basic with it. You can't just sort of go, oh, I just play better. Bullshit. What do you mean? That comes from people that have never played the game.
If they're not going to do that, what I'd like to see is if you win a card at Q School, there's 10 grand as a prize.
And
then that pay, that...
That ain't about shout, actually. Yeah, that ain't about shout. It's the only thing in the world that you invest a ton of money in and get nothing.
Correct.
Guaranteed nothing.
Well, you're given a bill as soon as you get your card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You paid £450, and now you've got to pay another £1, isn't it?
Yeah.
And where? Yeah, that's a great show. Yeah, it is amazing, and and you're nothing. You're guaranteed nothing, but you're classed as elite because you've got your card, but you're guaranteed nothing. And I think that is one aspect that it will have to change. It will have to change because it will just become more and more elite.
On top PDPA and Peter Manley.
Oh God, what was that?
Before we do that, I want to get your take on the PDPA and the players having no choice. We've heard Joe Cullen speak up about it, and he's not the only one. Should this be voluntary? That if you want to join the PDPA, should this 2% be forced on the players the way it is?
What the players are guilty of is not using what's on offer. And I was on the board of the PDPA for a couple of years, right? And it's very frustrating because there's so much there's so much for the players to use that the PDPA provide, but they don't read email. It was like joking on what do they do?
Yeah, I go.
Right? Because you don't know, you don't read an email, you don't go to the PDPA and go, what can I have? Right? And also what people got to remember is there's a if you go to the PDPA with a problem, it can't be discussed. It's private. So the PDPA can go, oh, we've just helped such and such out. They're not allowed to. It's literally like data protection and
Confidentiality.
Confidentiality, yeah, exactly that. It's like an NDA type of thing. You can't discuss it. And I know how hard certainly Alan works, right? Because he's an ex-player. We were around at the same time. We know how frustrating this sport can be. So he puts everything there, like whether it be financial advice and you sort of read online, all right, yeah, because they don't get paid for it. Like PDPA pay to have these people in place to give you advice. They don't take it up. Whether you've got mental health, gambling issues, drug issues, alcohol issues, all these things are in place and paid for, right? But nobody reads an email. Nobody turns up for a meeting, right? Now, on the other side of it, right, you're giving 2% of your wages away, every penny you earn, right? 2%, 2%, 2%. And then you get someone like Peter Manley. Well, I love Peter to bits. He's a pal of mine, great guy, great character, going, like, when you ask about conditions, right? It's the professional darts. There is no excuse for conditions not being perfect. They have to be perfect, not like just get on with it. Right? He was the biggest moaner in the sport if they weren't perfect. Yeah, he's being a hypocrite, right? And that's why there's no respect for the BDPA, because you've got someone like Peter basically going, nothing. Like, literally, that was the most car crashy interview I've ever seen in my life. That was BDO-esque. How stupid. It was stupid. It was stupid. What is he doing? He's meant to be there for them, not him. He's meant to make everything right for them. That's what he gets paid for. And that's been paid for years and years and years. And his attitude, all my life, right after that interview, I did a Euro tour. Players are fuming, mate. Players are fuming. Like, literally disgusted. And it will be his undoing. And it could be the PDPA's undoing. Like, because how can you do an interview like that and have any faith thing where 2% of your wages are going every year? And for the guys that's earning £1 million a year, that's 20 bags, mate.
Yeah.
What, to have a bloke like that? Would you want, if you were in a union, would you want a representative like that? So basically, just get on with it. Stop fucking mowing, get on with it. What do you mean, get on with it? Honestly, it was awful. And I felt sorry for the players, and I felt sorry for Peter, because I thought that was really short-sighted and has undone all the good work that he's trying to do over the years. But if you're a player and you're paying him 20 grand a year, how do you think Littler and Humphries feel seeing that? What do you think they think? We know what they think. You can't be it.
Yeah.
They're horrified. They're horrified because they'd rather see their money go to a charity. Because what do they do for them? When have you ever heard a player go, I want to thank the PDPA for what they did for me?
Never.
There's a problem in there.
Well, going back to your point about all these things that they put on, which I did, is fantastic.
They do. Unbelievable.
Don't disagree that side of it is fantastic. Yeah. However, now they're clearly not listening to their members.
No,
because I had heard a member that have said about the first round losers of money. I haven't heard.
Even the elite say they should be first round losers of money, so they don't care about themselves.
Then the Eurosaw changes.
Yep.
That was the PDPA. Peter said the PDPA agreed with the changes.
They have no choice. They have no power.
I know that. However, they've got to come out and say that, because it's all right saying...
They've got to be honest to their members.
This is what I mean. That if they haven't got a say in it, which we know that this is happening live or lump it, I get that. That's the way it works. We're not naive enough. We understand that. But come out and say that.
I don't understand how the PDPA becomes so disconnected with the players. I don't, whether it's because they've never done anything for them, or they've agreed to decisions that they don't agree with, but they're disconnected.
It's a massive disconnect.
No, they're not. And it's awful to see, really, because, listen, Woz is my best pal. I know how hard he works. He works his ass off, 12, 14 hours a day, trying to do good things for the players. But if you're not listened to, and you have no power, it's no good going to a meeting and going, yes, boss. Yes, boss. What's that? What's that about? What's the 2% for then? Scrap it.
But that's the problem, though, when the 2% comes from there to fund you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
you're not going to rock the boat, because
that's your wages, mate.
If you rock the boat too much, they go, well, that, and then that doesn't exist.
And that's the problem. And that is where the disconnect is, because they're like, oh, cool, well, we better agree with them because that's our wages. That's who's paying their wages, right? And then you've got Peter saying all that stuff he said in that interview you did with him. What do you think the players think about that? They're absolutely raging. They're like, we pay him, I don't know what he earns, but they're paying his wages. PDC ain't paying their wages. The players are paying their wages, his wages. And he's going to just get on with it, stop moaning. What do you mean, stop what? What do you mean, stop moaning? I can't believe it. And he's a player representative. His job is to look after the players because they pay his money. It's mad. I was horrified. And then having seen all the players the other week in Leverkusen for the European tour, they're absolutely fuming, mate. Fuming. And that's why I say there's going to be a player revolt. They're gonna make themselves heard. And I agree. I absolutely agree with them. And they need to make their selves heard. And it ain't for their benefit. This is the beauty of it. It ain't for that. And they don't worry about them. They're doing all right. They understand they're doing all right. They're not happy with the way the rest of the players are treated. They're not happy.
Some groundbreaking news drops as well. Raymond van Barneveld has been given permission to play in the World Seniors.
How hard was that to explain?
Champion of champions. Yeah, it was difficult. The positive for this is, for the first time ever, it looks like we're getting some cross code.
Yeah.
People being able to play for the first time. That it's
well, it's not a new thing, and this is what people don't understand. There's no the Tomlin order is based on
World Championship,
WGF, PDC, BDO, WDC as it was then. You can't play in a rival World Championships. All about. Should we go there? Should we have a go here? We're straight at trade. Can't do it. Can't stop it. And that's what he does. Beautiful. And about time. A player if you don't guarantee someone wages, you're not out. That's like me telling you what to do and I don't pay you your wages. Dart players only get paid when they win. So you can't have it both, can you? You can't say you can't play here. Well, give me some money then.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I'm glad.
And what's it's just great to have Barney playing in their product.
Absolutely. Why shouldn't he be allowed to play? Why? Who? What? For what? Why can't he play? Of course he can play. You can't stop people earning money. That's restraining trade. He's a legend. It's a legend series. It's a World Seniors event. Let him play. And let the fans see him. Let the fans meet him. That's what it's all about. Like, darts has become, like I'd say, it's getting elite. It's getting like golf. You know, like, you just can't stop. You can't, nobody tells me what to do. Nobody. I say what I want because I can't be cancelled. Cancel me. Don't put me on TV. Don't give me a job. I don't give a shit. I've got enough money to retire. I don't care. I don't care. I'll just tell the truth and I say it as I see it. And that's it. Some people love me for it. Some people loathe me for it. But one thing that my art is in is this sport. I love this sport. I love the players. I know what they sacrifice, because I sacrificed my life for this sport. And here they took my life.
Yeah.
Right? So when this came out that they let me play, well, they didn't really have a choice, mate. They didn't really have a choice. And that will all come out over the next few months. You can't stop anybody. You can't write into a contract that I tell you where and when you can play and I don't guarantee you money. How does that work? When on earth has anybody ever signed a contract where they own you but don't pay you any money?
Are you hopeful now we can see lower end players playing in stream stuff at the moment, Super C, the ADC and so on?
The PDC, you cannot restrict players from earning money. We've been saying it for years. Let them play in mowers. Let them play in ADC. I understand protecting your brand. You're elite. Well, I get that because of sponsorship and everything else. You don't want to see them on another platform. But you guys that are ranked 65 to 128, let them earn some money. Let them get some experience. And then when they're thrown in the lion's den, they might have a sniff. They might have a shout. They might learn. They might get better. You can't rely on a conveyor belt of loot littlers and bogreaves, because it ain't there, mate. As much as they all want to build out and go, listen, I've been working on that junior and the JDC or the party rush. There is some unbelievable talent. But the kids, by the time they reach 17, 18, they might be into something else. You can't guarantee that, there's this imaginary conveyor belt. Yes, there's loads of talent out there. How many of them are going to make that sacrifice? How many of them have the money to go, right, go on son or go on daughter, be a pro? How many? 0.5% maybe? Ain't there, is it? The numbers don't match up. The numbers don't, it just doesn't do the math. And we've got to be really careful with this sport. We've got to make it accessible. We've got to make it open. We've got to make it affordable. And if we don't, it will go full circle again. And it will. And it'll go full circle. But in regards to the Barney thing, I do hope that they say to the ones that who are losing money, if you're meant to be you're 128, you're elite, you're a tour card holder who's spending money hand over fist. Let them earn some money. Let them gain some experience. Let them play in modus. Let them play ADC. I totally get the whole idea of protecting their elite players. That makes sense. I understand it. But they don't need the money. The elite don't need the money. They're getting paid unbelievable amounts of money just for turning up for exhibitions, for sponsorship, through endorsements, for everything else. They're not the ones that need the dough. And which is why I'm so proud. I'm not going to name the players. I'm so proud of all of the guys in the top 16 that are now a voice for those outside the top 16. I think that's classy as fuck. And I love it. I love it. And they get my support.
Matchplay on the horizon. The last one for episode 1. Does Barney hang on to that 16th spot?
He's on the bubble, isn't he? He's on the bubble. We got 5 Pro Tours there.
5 Pro Tours left to get you there.
It's mad, isn't it? Barneveld back in that. I don't know. Some people have issue with Barney. I don't. I think he done so much for the sport. and potentially it could be his last year.
I think he misses out.
That's why I'd like to see him get in. If it's his last year, does he have to fight to do the tour again? And
I'm not sure. We've heard him talk now that retirement is coming. You can hear it in his voice. He's talking about it again. I think he misses out.
It's going to be tough. I want him in it. If it's his last year,
I'd like him in it, but I think he misses out.
I want to see him in it, and that because he can still play, man.
100%.
Mate, he's still got game. Like his A game is still there. What he doesn't have is he don't have that fight, but that fight gets burnt out of you as you get older, and you're like you stand behind one of these kids and you think you're just going to keep doing this leg on leg on leg, and you just don't have that. You don't have that desire burning in your belly. That it's almost like a hatred, actually, or a refusal. You refuse to lose, and it's a bit like boxing, I suppose. How many punches in the end do you want to take? Do you know what I mean? And it's in darts. It's how many times you want your heart broke, because it does. It breaks your heart, mate. It's horrible. It's amazing but horrible. It's a love-hate relationship, and like if it's going to be Barney's last year, which I think it is, to be honest. I think he owns onto his car.
And then next year
as he winds it up, and listen, what a servant to our sport he's been. Like everyone goes on about the obvious names, but I was part of Barney's era. I made all my money because of Ray.
Yeah, I get it.
Man, he was a game changer, man. He's been a fabulous servant to the sport. But I'd like to see him go out on his terms. I'd like to see him play seniors full time, because I think he would love it, because he could enjoy it and play with a smile, relax. And listen, the guy's still got a game to beat anybody. He's won Pro Tours, and he's like, he's special, man. He's one of the best that's ever done it. You know, he's a top 5 all time ever. And he changed the sport for everybody. Like, would we have darts in Europe like it is now without Barney? I don't think so.
No, I'm with you.
I don't think so, mate. I don't think all the Euro tours and everything else that's out there, I don't think we would have it without Ray. Would we have had Michael without Ray?
Arguably not.
Do you know what I mean? That's how deep you got to look. But yeah, he's listen, he might not be everybody's cup of tea, but for me, he's been a game.
Nice. Pleasure. On episode 1, thank you very much. Episode 2, we are going to plan to do it the Friday before Blackpool. So it will be out the morning of Blackpool. That's the plan. So make sure you drop us a like and subscribe, everyone.
Right, hit those buttons.
You all know, and we'll see you all very, very soon.